Oh yeah. So the next day we go in production meeting. Now mind you, they never told me what time production meeting was. As if they didn't want me to show up. Because if you miss production meeting, then you got heat from the office. But no one said production meeting's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Production meeting's tomorrow at noon.
And you were required, all the TV talent was required to go to the
production meeting. Yes, if you were doing anything behind the scenes, you had to be at the production meeting because that's when they set and told you the layout. That was the what do you call it?
Format?
The format of the day, of the night. Now, that could change. At that time, it changed minute by minute. But it was the format. It was the index that you went by. So I would, happened so, I just saw somebody, I said, what time's the production meeting? No one ever came to tell me. I'm going out to do commentary, but no one would tell me, like you saying, we're going to shoot tonight at 6:30. That's, to me, or be here at 6 for a production meeting. We'll go over what we're going to talk about. But if you don't tell me, and now you show up at my room at 6 and say, where the fuck are you? How come you didn't show up? No one fucking told me.
I guess kind of linked to the Hall of Fame thing, he says, what are your thoughts on Howard Finkel and the other Office guys? I think Howard Finkel, we bunched this in because I think he's the kind of the contact for the Hall of Fame.
Howard is, on the old MASH shows on TV, there was a guy called Radar. Radar had the ears, he heard everything, and he had the eyes. Howard Finkel is Radar. He befriends you, a nice guy, lovely person. He has, I guess, what I hear, one of the largest collections of XXX sex tapes of anybody in the world.
Not homemade.
Well, whatever he does on his own time is his business, but we all got skeletons in the closet. But anyway, Howard, that was my nickname I gave him, Radar. Because on the MASH show, Radar was the guy who had the ins and outs on everything that was happening on the base.
Any of the other Office guys that you got along with particularly well, or maybe?
And Russo and I can't prove that Lawler and Ross had something to do with it, but I blame them. Here's why. We did WrestleMania 13 in Chicago. They sent me out to do commentary with Rocky Johnson, The Rock, the Kid and the Dad, Sheik, and the Sultan. That was a match. Sheik and Sultan against Rocky Johnson and The Rock. Mm-hmm. Sheik in a corner, Rocky Johnson in a corner, and The Rock and the Sultan. Anyway, I'd been so pissed off about the way this whole TV thing had gone, about what they were trying to fuck me around. I said, fuck it. I'm going out here today, and I'm going to blow this fucking lid off of this shit. And if you go back and watch WrestleMania, I think it was 13 from Chicago, I started doing, I went out there, and as soon as I sat down beside Vince McMahon and Lawler was sitting there, I went fucking nuts. You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Oh, you make a honky tonk man go insane. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a big one, Vince. And I never gave them a chance to say shit. Come on, get in there, Sheik. Put the boots to him. Put the boots to him. Kill that Rocky Johnson. Kick that shit. Get paid that shit.
Any of the guys known to be like family men or whatever and were untouchable? All right, well, there's my answer. A furtive glance.
A family man.
Yeah, well.
I want one guy, I want one motherfucker to come here, sit right here where you are, and you ask him that question, and that motherfucker look at me just like you looked at me, and I want him to say, I was a family man. Whose motherfucking family was you in that night? What house were you at?
All right.
Who's going? Have you asked that question to anybody else?
No, this.
That is a really good question, and you know. I hope that if you're married to a wrestler, then you understand, and I hope you have an open relationship. I mean, I ain't never done no gay stuff. I mean, I can say that. I've never done that, but I've done every fucking thing else. A to Z, brother.
Farm animals?
You know...
One night in Omaha.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you take the steroids, you take the pills, and... they all look good from the bottom of the bottle.
Everyone's pretty in the dark.
Girls get prettier at closing time.
Okay.
Tony Gurriel, Mr. Personality, what a fucking asshole, a dipshit cocksucker he was. But and Chief Jay Strongbow, whatever happened to that motherfucker, he deserves. You know, if he was dying right now, and they wanted me to come over, and his throat's closing, he needed a drink of something, I wouldn't even shit in his fucking mouth.
You know, I hear that we've heard that before in reference to Scarpa. What's the story?
I don't know. I mean, this guy. Randy Savage said it best, and I'm not a "oh yeah, Randy Savage" fan, but anyway, Savage said it best when he says, you know, how many, he told me one time, he said, excuse me, just how many careers has Jay Strongbow ruined as a road agent? How many young guys did he turn away, or how many people did he go back to the office and stab in the fucking back? You know, he did it to me on a nightly basis. I didn't give a shit. I told him, I said, fuck you, Strongbow. He told me, hey, if you ain't happy, pack your bags. I said, you're firing me? You mean you're firing me? I said, okay, fine, I'll go home. Sold out show the next night in Louisville, Kentucky. Vince calls me on the phone. He says, what happened? Well, actually, I called him. I said, told his secretary, I said, look, do you want me to make Louisville? Ask Vince if he want me to make Louisville tonight. Sold out, me and Savage. We were in El Paso the night before, sold out. And he calls me back and he says, how come you don't want to make Louisville? I said, well, Strongbow fired me last night. I didn't know if you want me to make the town or not. So he made Strongbow apologize to me that night down in Louisville in the basement where we did the business. This was downstairs in the Louisville Gardens. And that's the worst thing Strongbow ever had to do, was apologize to me.
He must have been thrilled.
Yeah, he did everything he could to fuck me around. So, and then you got the other guy. You had Jack Lanza. He's a bad cop, good cop. Old tarhead Jack Lanza. You know, one-eyed Jack. Hang 'em high. That motherfucker, what he would do, how's the old Strongbow treating you? You know, so he would like be your friend, and you'd say, that Strongbow's a piece of shit, and he'd run around the corner going, hey, that fucking guy just said he's a piece of shit. Oh yeah. I wish the Sheik was in here to talk about these fucking guys with me.
We'll see if we can go rouse him from his slumber.
How many beers he have? 12-pack?
2, 3?
2, 3 beers? Oh, he's okay.
He's okay.
Okay, we'll get him down here and hit it. Let him get on my Gatorade bottle and loosen him up a little. We had to try to survive. But you said so many negative things about us with what we were doing on a national level, and then you go there and you humble yourself. You humble yourself to lick Bret Hart's boots, to have midgets wrestling with you, and you do all those things, but yet in Memphis, you're the king. And I go set at commentary, and I can't prove it, but I always had a good idea. They send me out to do live commentary on Raw, and you know this from doing this show right here. We're doing tape, so we can stop the tape and redo something if we have to. But if we're going live right now on the internet, and you tell me, here's your headset, and it's not plugged up, and every technician who works for that company is the best, they are the best of what do. My headset wouldn't be plugged up. Jim Ross would throw me a question, I couldn't hear him. Who did it? Did Ross do it, or did Lawler do it? One of those two people were involved in it. Sometimes my microphone would not even be turned on. They'd ask me the question, I could hear it, but I couldn't answer it. When I'd answer, they'd say, well, I guess Honky Tonk Man don't have a comment about that. Because the show moves real fast. We're sitting here looking at this screen right now, this monitor, right? I can see those questions. And when you're doing commentary, you don't watch the matches. You don't watch the ring. You watch what's on the screen. Because what's on the screen is what's going on outside to people. So if you look up in the ring, you go, holy Christ, there's so-and-so coming in. Well, there's no camera on them. You have to watch the monitor. It's kind of like flying an airplane. You don't look out in the sky. You look at the instruments. So you called the whole thing right. I'd show up. My monitor wasn't plugged in. This is live raw on USA Network, and that does not happen. It's just something that doesn't happen.
Did you say anything to anyone there?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Jake Roberts would put me on the commentary. Vince Russo would go pull me off. I'd say, Jake, am I going out for this? He says, yeah. I'd say, no, they just scratched me. Jake would go to Vince and say, they just scratched him. Vince would go over, tell Russo, put him back on. Russo had a hard on for me.
Segue, Derek in Portland, Honky, with all the recent deaths attributed to steroids, what responsibility do you think the wrestling promoters have in this?
None. Absolutely none. Why? You okay over there, brother? Huh? You want to hit this fucking Gatorade? I'll fix you up here, bro. You be
That'll help your esophagus.
The fucking camera be moved. Here's why they don't have it any responsibility. Simply because they're independent. They're independent promoters. Let's say promoters in general. Let's don't pick just one company. You're an independent promoter coming here to interview me tonight. Should you be responsible if I went back to my room and fell dead of a steroid overdose? Okay? I say the wrestling community should not be governed that way because we touched on it in the last segment. It shouldn't be governed that way simply because if a guy comes out and he's your plumber and he comes over and plunges the toilet and gets all the shit out of there and he falls dead on the way out of the house because he took too many steroids, are you responsible because the plumber came in on steroids? No. It should just be something that if you're a major corporation, like, and I don't even like to give these people any airplay, TNA, which are not a major corporation, they're a redneck hillbilly fucking organization. They're going nowhere. Fucking bunch of midgets. And the WWE, who is the worldwide leader in professional wrestling, should they be governed? No. Should they step up to the plate and say, we don't want these behemoth... Well then fine, go to the fucking circus and tell the people who run the circus, we got the biggest man in the world here. We got a giant. We got the fat lady. We got the skinny lady. We got the tattoo lady. Entertainment cannot be governed that way. It just should not be, and it cannot be. It has to be up to the individual promotion to say, I don't want you guys on the drugs, especially the narcotics, the painkillers, the speed, because it's going to affect our business. If it affects your business, then that's when the promoter should step in and say, hey guys, no more of this bullshit. DiBiase had to tell some of his old brother guys who brought a 12-pack in the fucking church, hey fellas, we can't be bringing the beer in the church anymore. You see? It's not up to the government or to the state to come in and say, we can't have beer in the church. It's up to the promoter or the preacher to say, we can't have beer in the church. Well, if you're Catholic, I guess you can drink wine in the church. So, I mean, fuck, maybe I'll switch to Catholic.
So clean up your own backyard, in essence, and...
Yeah, I mean, it's not to be regulated.
Okay, here's one. HTM